missed from Councilwoman, Madam Mayor, Mr. Bryant, at that meeting? No. Okay. Then this morning, we had a called meeting that was with regard to the matters that were assigned to us regarding boards and commissions. And at that time, we heard from our city manager with regard to a letter that was received, as well as reviewing a proposed resolution and a proposed ordinance number, bill number 2024-24, as well as resolution 2024-42, and which are both scheduled to come up on our agenda after the conclusion of all of our committee reports. So, Mr. City Manager, if you would like to go over with us the letter that we received from the Housing Authority, as well as the accompanying resolution associated with that, please.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Temp. Letter that I received from the Housing Authority dated November 5th asked that the Florence City Council remove or revert back to the original 5 board seats and instead of the 7 board seats. In 2018, the then executive director submitted a letter to Mayor Wakila at the time and asked that the city council increase the seats of the Florence Housing Authority Board from 5 members to 7 members.
And I believe when it was first started in 1968, it was at 5, and it remained that way until 2018.
That is
So
correct.
For 50 years, it was 5.
That is correct. 50 years, it was 5 members. In 2018, it increased to 7 members there. It is the Housing Authority's belief that it's time to revert back there to make revisions to that, and staff has drafted, if it's council's desire, we have drafted revisions to that to decrease the number of seats on that board back to 5 as requested by the Housing Authority.
Okay, and then,
And I'll pass out the letter for
Yeah.
council.
thank you, Scotty. And then, I know that we're also, in that same context, looking at the boards and commissions. And so, with regard to that, I know Councilman Braddock has been very eager to try to address on a comprehensive basis the boards and commissions. So, for this part of the report from the Business Development Committee, I'll turn it over to Councilman Braddock.
Yeah, I've been, I think first addressed or met with Clint to just look at our boards and commissions. We've had, several. Some we need to up the professionalism, the training. People need to know the expectations. And then some we've just had, some different issues with. And looking into the Housing Authority board particularly, and I didn't realize this until getting this letter, there was a time for 50 years where they had 5 board members, and that was increased. During my tenure, city council for the last 4 years, we've had some issues in that, and so just like it was requested for them to increase, I agree with the request to change. And so I'd like to introduce that resolution 2024-42. Basically, would it be okay to read it as drafted? Or
Yeah, go ahead. You can. I think it because it's coming as a recommendation from our Business Development Committee. Mr. City Manager, is it okay if he reads that at this time?
It is.
Okay.
Resolution 2024, a resolution to reduce the Board of Commissioners of the Florence Housing Authority from 7 commissioners to 5 commissioners pursuant to Section 31-3-340 of South Carolina Code of Laws. Whereas the Florence Housing Authority operates under the authority of the South Carolina Housing Authority's laws as codified in Chapter 3 of Title 31 of the South Carolina Code of Laws. And whereas Section 31-3-340 of the South Carolina Code of Laws authorizes municipalities to reduce the size of the Board of Commissioners of a housing authority to no fewer than 5 members, and whereas the City of Florence received a letter of recommendation from the Florence Housing Authority requesting that the Board of Commissioners be reduced from 7 members to 5 members, and whereas the Florence City Council has determined that reducing the Board of Commissioners from 7 members to 5 members will improve efficiencies and better serve the operations of the Florence Housing Authority. Now therefore, based upon the findings of fact referenced and set out above, it is hereby resolved by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Florence, South Carolina as follows. The size of the Board of Commissioners of the Florence Housing Authority is hereby reduced from 7 members to 5 members in accordance to Section 31-3-340 of South Carolina Code of Laws.
And so that's, when we met this morning, we voted and made a recommendation to City Council that that resolution be approved by the Business Development Committee. The other matter related to it, and Councilman Braddock, if you want to address this as well, which is the ordinance dealing with the Aesthetics Advisory Committee, again, looking at the boards and commissions.
Yes, and again, we will be taking a holistic look at other boards as well, planning, the business business zone, BZA. What's the I know it as BZA, the Business
Board of Zoning Appeals.
Board of Zoning and Appeals. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and several others. But in relation to the Aesthetics Committee, there seemed to be some overlap with several other committees regarding aesthetics. Specifically the Beautification Commission, the Planning Commission, and the Resilience and the Sustainability Advisory Committee. And it was brought to our attention that there had only been one meeting of this committee in the last 12 months. So with that, I would like to introduce Ordinance Bill Number 2024-24 for first reading, an ordinance to repeal Division 4 of Article 3, Chapter 2 of the City of Florence Code of Ordinances entitled Aesthetics Advisory Committee.
Do you want to read that? Go ahead and read that ordinance, please.
An ordinance to repeal Division 4 of Articles 3, Chapter 2 of the City of Florence Code of Ordinances entitled Aesthetics Advisory Committee, whereas the City of Florence has determined that Division 4 of Article 3, Chapter 2 of the City of Florence Code of Ordinances, which established the Aesthetics Advisory Committee, is no longer necessary for the operation or administration of the city, and whereas the City Council has determined that a continuation of the Aesthetics Advisory Committee is no longer necessary and is redundant to that of the goals and objectives of the Parks and Beautification Commission, the Planning Commission, and the Resilience and Sustainability Advisory Committee. And whereas it is the desire of City Council to eliminate redundant bodies within the city government, and whereas the Council desires to repeal the section of the City of Florence Code of Ordinances that established the Aesthetics Advisory Committee.
So this as well was addressed by the Business Development Committee and has been presented to City Council here this afternoon as a recommendation to adopt both the resolution that was presented 2024-42 as well as Bill number 2024-24 ordinance. Anything further, Madam Mayor, or from Councilman Braddock? No. And that is the report of the Business Development Committee at this time.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Next, we have the community.
Yeah, would it be,
Are
could
we
we
gonna
make a
vote?
motion to move forward with resolution?
Okay, we can.
If we want to go ahead.
Can we do that? Yes.
So you want to
Okay.
do one then the other?
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-42.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second. All those in favor? Is there a discussion? Thank
I got one quick thing I really want to say. Just because I guess the letter is not has not been stated to the public, but I think one point that I do want to add out there is I think Dr. Bradley said that the Housing Authority has struggled to maintain 7 board members ever since, and currently has 2 vacant seats. I guess that's Scotty, I think you correct me if I'm wrong, is that more so of, have they having any issues, I guess, regarding quorum or anything like that? Of meetings?
That's my understanding.
Okay, okay. So with that, I mean, like I said, I've,
Yes, please.
So it didn't state. So we got the the letters that were sent.
Yeah, I
So-
read 'em.
Okay, yeah, September 20th, 2018. It just was a request. We currently have 4 commissioners for the community and 1 who is directly assisting the Housing Authority of Florence. We were asking for 2 additional commissioners to serve on this board. There wasn't any reference to why they wanted 2 more. And then they sent a follow-up letter on October 10th, 2018, just referencing the first letter, requesting consideration for the approval of 2 additional commissioners to serve on the board. This would bring our board to 7 board members, but there was no reference to why they were needed, how it would positively affect their ability to operate, or that they were inhibited by any way by having 5. So there was nothing to reference as to why they added the 2.
You got it.
So,
Yeah, I read it. I didn't see a reason either, but I wanted to know why, if anybody else had a reason of why they went from 5 to 7 after 50 years. And so now they, with 2, if they're struggling to maintain quorum, would this change their quorum desires? Because I thought their bylaws said that their quorum was, what, do we know what their bylaws said their quorum was?
But I don't want us to get into what they are doing. We can only stay in our area, and we can either accept this motion or reject it. Accept the letter or reject it. I don't know.
Unfortunately, I like to have information, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay.
I've already seconded. I've already moved it, actually. So I was
Okay.
just asking questions.
Okay, so let's move on from here. We'll call for the question. You all ready? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposes nay. Let the record reflect that this bill, can't remember, see the number, resolution number 2024-42 has passed.
Do you want to go straight to the ordinance now? Okay. Brian,
I'd like to make a motion to approve
so moved.
bill number 2024-24.
Second? Second. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that it has passed. Bill number 2024-24 has passed. Next,
Madam Mayor, just as a point of information, that is an ordinance. It will require 2 readings. The second one
The
is an
second
ordinance.
one.
The first one is not.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we will come back to a second reading on that. For the ordinance. Yes. Now we are moving to community redevelopment, and I am excited today. It helps me to reminisce. We have building Florence together. This was a CDC that we really, we fought to get this underway, and it was hard to give our baby over to someone and let them just take over and we have no say. But I can tell you it is in capable hands. Miss Michelle Morgan is going to come and give a report. You go, girl.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Congratulations on your appointment. Congratulations to those who have been recently selected to their seats. I just want to thank Madam Mayor for the opportunity to speak before council today and just share a little bit about what's been going on. I am so excited to share that it actually has been 1 year since she turned over her baby, and now it's my baby. And I do want to honor City Manager Mr. Scotty Davis, who thought it was worthy to allow me to have this opportunity. But I'm hoping that my credentials spoke for themselves, having an MBA background, also having 20 plus years in corporate banking, also having 10 plus years at Habitat for Humanity, building and developing affordable housing. So I come here not only with the background in education, but also with the passion to do the work that we do. And so what I have presented to council is our first annual report. It is fresh off the press. I'm so sorry I didn't get it to Ms. Casey in time for your board packet, but it is done, completed, and on time. Building Florence Together Community Development Corporation, we exist to promote equality, economic vitality, and improve the quality of life for our city of Florence residents. Our goal is to provide access to affordable, appropriate housing, revitalizations of neighborhoods, empower residents and small businesses through education, workforce development, partnerships. And I do want to add that we also will be walking in the Isaiah 58:12, and that we are going to really repair the ancient ruins. We are here to rise up the foundations, and we are going to be called the repairer of the breach. So I am specifically here for those areas of Florence that need to be rebuilt. One of the tasks that was given to us as Building Florence Together is Mr. Davis said, well, you're going to buy that house at 320 South Gilliard Street. And I said, yeah. And what city manager wants, he gets, and I will make sure that he gets it. And so we went, and the team decided that we were actually vacillating between building or tearing it down. We really thought about it. And so, but I am proud to say, and those of you who have not, I really implore you to go out and just Google 320 South Gilliard Street, because we took this 114-year-old home and transformed it into not only a beautiful modern home, but it also is safe and energy efficient. Now, what I will tell you is that this particular home has been under development for 6 months. We purchased it in October. We didn't start construction until end of March. We finished September 9th. It went on the market September 13th. Someone came to see it September 14th and put a full price offer on our desk on September 16th. That house has closed. And I intentionally did not do any marketing around this house until it was completed, because we actually had folks who said this house will never sell. But I believe that if we build them, guess what? They're going to come. The right price, the right product. And then we're going to build those neighborhoods and bring all of those people back into those areas. One of the tenets of Building Florence Together is all of our houses will have porches. Because guess what? We want people to come back and sit on their porch and enjoy the scenery and come back outside. So one of the things you will see as we begin to build are those things. Right now, we have just put an offer in on a piece of parcel. We are waiting to hear from it. I am praying that while we're waiting for that, the city will graciously release some lots to me, per what you said. But I will say that they are working on that. But in the meantime, we are not sitting idle. There is work to do. So while we're waiting, we're going to be looking and we're going to be seeking opportunities to build. There are a couple other tenets that Building Florence Together will be doing, which is providing community education and workforce development partnerships with small businesses. So as we are building, we were laying foundation. So a couple of things, and I'm going to take my seat. In this first year, we have approved our strategic plan. We have built and developed our strategic marketing plan. We have hired a CPA firm to keep us in accurate accounting. We actually just passed our first audit with flying colors. I'm so excited that Webster's and Rogers will be presenting at our board meeting tomorrow. So there are several other things that we have been working on for this first year, but I will tell you that we have been busy. We are going to be growing. We have a working board, and I just want to implore you that listen out for Building Florence Together. We are excited. We are just getting started. And if you hear about us, knowing that there's going to be some porches on those homes, all right? So I say keep us in prayer. We are working hard. We are honored to represent the city. Thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity, and just keep us in your thoughts. Any questions?
Yes, we have Councilman
Yes,
Braddock.
sir.
Yes, congratulations on the job in the first year. I'm going to preface this with, I know that when we restore a home, we're trying to keep the community looking, and there's a benefit, an ROI greater than the cost and what it does for enhancing the community and the neighborhoods and all that. But can you share with us the numbers in terms of how much did it cost to acquire, how much was the renovation, and then how much the property was sold for?
Absolutely. This particular property was purchased for $80,000. We contracted Mr. Trey and Associates, Cooper and Associates. He did a fantastic job. He did come in on bid. The bid was $130,000 renovation. That seems high, but I want you to understand we literally built this home back up from the foundation up to the rafters. We had to do extensive foundation repair, new HVAC system. We also did a brand new roof on the property, 3 bathrooms, and all of the infrastructure in the house, including new wiring and new plumbing. So while we could have built a new house for about $160,000, we decided to restore the existing infrastructure. So we did sell the home at $219,000. The city was gracious to provide a $20,000 down payment assistance. The building Florence together net about $73,000 on the sale.
Yeah, well, congratulations. Actually, I would have expected it to cost more, so kudos on that, because like I say, to restore a home, and to have different homes and not, cookie cutter, boom, 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 all the same, I think does a lot to enhance the community. And for you to do that and almost break even, and if you had the city manager actually give you the lot and give you stuff instead of having to pay for it, that would have saved a lot of money too. So, thank you.
Next, we will hear from Councilman McCall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I serve on the Community Development Committee with Madam Mayor, and that was since the initiation of this committee. And I remember, I always say this again, I remember when we first tried to get this thing passed. This one of the hardest things we ever got passed. And I think, as we said earlier, they're modeling it out there Florence, not Florence anymore. What was the thing in Greenville?
Yeah.
The CDC in Greenville. And I remember the story of how they started so small, but then 20 years later, it was transformative for Greenville. And I think we got the appropriate leadership in place now that not saying 20 years from now, 20 years from now, it would transform Florence. And so, again, I think you definitely got the support of council now, and we want to make sure that we get you the appropriate tools and resources you need to continue to do great things. So, again, thank you. I think I told you this earlier, but, again, thank you for everything you're doing. And, I'm excited to see what's next for you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right. Anyone else?
You're not going to speak.
You got your speech.
You know he got to speak.
Got to get off the hook.
You getting ready to give her some land?
Right.
Exactly. Thank
Give it
you.
up.
I want to talk a little bit about the partnership that we created with the nonprofit. The funding that council has set aside for the last couple of years, we've provided 3/4 of that, well, actually all of that, but we do leave a little bit of that to pay for salaries. So Ms. Morgan is a city employee, but the nonprofit actually pays that salary there. And thank you for allowing her to come today, Madam Mayor. As we go through the budget process, when we wrote up, or when you guys wrote up the ordinance to create this, we stated that they would come forth and you would look at the work that they're doing and ensure, continue those funding. So certainly this will prove favorable as we go through the budgetary process. In the house that was mentioned, and Councilman Braddock jokingly talked about the city and giving some dollars, I want to, since Ms. Morgan didn't mention, the city did provide $80,000 for the renovations to that house, as well as the $20,000 in down payment to that house.
You're off the hook.
Thank you.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. And we are working through Jerry's office, Jerry Dudley, who's our planning director and community services director, on a number of lots that we have, and certainly there's some moving pieces on some of those premium lots there, and I think they are in negotiations on providing some of those lots to the nonprofit as well. Yes, sir.
Okay?
I would say, Scotty and Michelle, it'd be important, I think, for me and other people to know what kind of private investment it spurs. So if we had, an area that we were looking at where where the development committee is doing these renovations, to see, or to report if a lot has been purchased by a private developer, renovations have been done, because I know that's another caveat that we're looking to do to have comps and to establish new growth in the market to spur, because it's not on the city to redevelop the whole
Right.
community. We want to see those private dollars come in. We want to see those banks start loaning in those areas.
Yes.
And people.
Yes, and in this area, the city is building lots, homes in that area. There, we purchased a number of homes in that area. The city actually built the house and sold it very quickly as well. And they're, 3-4 houses down from each other, lots down from each other. So you're seeing that synergy off of Pine Street and Gilliard and those areas there. So there'll be a lot of that going on with private development. We also have 6 to 7 different developers that we're working on at any given time who's building lots in the area there. So we're very proud of what's going on in community services.
Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem.
Just want to comment that I think it's fantastic that not only are we getting new homes being built, but they're rehabbing these old historic homes.
Yes.
And so keeping the character of the neighborhood in place by keeping these, and even though the new homes have a similar feel to them in terms of its architectural style, but if you can have a 114-year-old home and you can rehab it and then put it back out there again, I think that it's a historic neighborhood, as Councilman Smith over here being his neighborhood that he represents, but I think it's so great that we're doing both building new homes
Yes.
as well as taking these historic homes and rehabbing them.
So, Scott, a question while we're talking about it. Do we have any other plans to build as far as with our revitalization area in that neighborhood?
Yes, that's the Pine and Gilliard Street.
Yes.
We've developed about 7 or 8 lots. The plans change every so often, but there's about 7 or 8 lots there that we're looking to build on. Again, actually, we have a good problem to have. We have a number of developers who are asking for those, and Ms. Morgan and her group being one of those, and staff is now divvying out those lots, and we want to have at least 3 or 4 builders in that area there, and we'll build 7 or 8 homes in that area.
Okay.
Okay, that's it? All right. So thank you so much. Great report. And we look for even better things. We know you on your way up. Thank you. Now we will hear from our marketing committee.
All right, so thank you, Madam Mayor. Marketing and Public Relations Committee, we just finished up the CDU. So we saw the graduates from CDU, and I'm sure we're going to gear up for another session. So we need people calling in, registering for CDU, so you can come out and learn more about our city. One of the things I want to definitely talk about is where I just got back from yesterday, and that is the National League of Cities. And a lot of what happens, NLC, National League of Cities, celebrated 100 years. 100 years of assisting small and mid-town cities and towns on how to be more productive, networking, collaborating with other city council people across the United States, and it was very beneficial. I took full advantage of this learning process. We learned everything from, I went to classes talking about water for the long term, affordable housing, the local infrastructure hub, and how we can get funds that of course we don't have in our budget. How to create a prioritizing budget. So these were classes that really helped, and I learned a lot. And I told our city manager we will be meeting in the upcoming weeks to really put into fruition what a lot of these other cities are doing that is effective and efficient, especially when it comes to housing, the Housing Supply Accelerator. All of these things, there's grant monies out there and there's funding for. And so collaborating with other areas, even when it came down to the local infrastructure hub, finding out that Florence didn't get any money, but Lake City did. So we have to find our creative ways to find infrastructure to ensure that our residents are living the best lives and creating a better life for our residents. So even with that, we celebrated that. We had a good time. It was very educational, and it's classes like this that helps me become a better city councilwoman for you guys. So all of the stuff that I bought back, and I bought a lot of stuff back, we will be talking about and finding out how we can implement that into the city of Florence and how we can better our citizens. So, and finally, don't forget about Psy. I got my little Psy bag, Ask Psy. So please, please, please register for Ask Psy 855-964-3929. Text them, put them in your phone. We still need to increase our participation. We're on our path, and we've been doing a lot to acclimate Psy into our communities. But it still takes all of us sharing it, making sure that our senior citizens have Psy on their phones, because these are our vulnerable citizens that need up-to-date information about what's going on in our city. So let's all continue to promote Ask Psy, and hopefully we'll have some better things coming in our city. Thank you. That concludes my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we will have the finance and audit.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll listen to everybody's presentation today. And I guess it's not. I always got the boring report. Nobody want to talk about finance. That's the boring thing. So, but I gotta do my job. Let's see. So we started off. Well, we met. Excuse me. The committee is myself, Councilman Brian Braddock, and Councilman J. Lawrence Smith II. We met on October 30th. And we reviewed the September 2024 financial packet given by Glenn. Secondly, we which was presented to us today, the budget carry forward ordinance. We reviewed that packet, and that was just basically items that had already been budgeted and is carrying forward into this new year, and then also the ordinance amendment for vehicles for hire and for the City of Florence taxi cab ordinance. Again, is bringing it into compliance, as we already voted on that too. And then lastly, we received an update about the opioid funds that was received, and Councilman Braddock talked about creating allowing a portion of the grant money to create will that be a grant? It won't be a grant proposal, but that would be not a grant proposal. Excuse me.
Scoring.
RFQ.
For bids for an organization to basically look and see what's the opioid needs for the city of Florence, and give us a recommendation on how to apply the money moving forward. And again, we met on October 30th, and that was our conversation. So that will conclude our report for today.
Thanks to all of you and all of your reports. We will now go to appointments to.
Yeah, it was brought to my attention, my staff, we have to these ad hoc committees have to be redone after each election, from what I understand. So, motion to appoint the committees. I move that City Council appoint the ad hoc study and advisory committees, each made up of 3 members of council, with the chair of these committees as followed. The Community Development Committee, I think currently chaired by Mayor Barnes. The Business Committee, Development Committee chaired by Councilman Bailey. Finance and Audit Budget Committee chaired by Councilman McCall. That's all I have on here, and that the committee chairs will provide nominations for remaining members of each committee for council consideration.
Second.
Discussion?
Point of information, what are we saying now?
We have to reappoint committees at each election, correct?
Yes.
That's my understanding.
Yes.
And ad hoc committees specifically for study and advisory for certain elements of the council.
I thought we would do that after the other person got,
Elected?
yeah.
No,
Because we still have a,
Ad hoc has a time expiration, and so you have to, we've got at the start of an election year, you do the ad hoc. The other ones you can wait, but the ad hoc, you can't.
so you included everybody but the marketing committee? Your marketing
It was
wasn't-
not recommended for marketing PR just because of the staff. Seemed to be, after getting PSI completed, that there wasn't a need, for additional staff support on that.
So what are we saying, we cutting out the marketing and public relations committee?
That would be the recommendation, yeah, at this time.
Interesting.
Any other discussion?
I have a question. Was this studied? Was it studied by a committee? Or did the Business Development Committee? Was it a recommendation from the Business Development Committee?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it came through the meeting that we had about committees, the commissions, and the different aspects that we're looking at revamping.
Okay, you said,
I want-
Streamlining different things, streamlining processes.
okay.
Point of information, I think it should not be couple people making the entire council decisions, and especially affecting the entire council. But of course, I'm gonna let y'all do what y'all do. But I just want to say, I don't think that is right for a couple people to make decisions that the entire council should be making. And I'm done.
Okay. Is there any more discussion?
I mean, it's a motion. I mean, I
A
guess
motion,
it's
is
a
there a motion and a second? It has been properly motioned and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposes?
I'm gonna say nay.
Let the record reflect that the motion has passed.
Because we didn't even know where this motion came from, so, yeah.
Okay. All right. Appointments so we will move on next month with the chairs of each committee appointing who they would want on their committees. Next, we will have executive session, and it's for discussion regarding the economic development project. It's also for the discussion regarding appointments to boards and commissions, and also a personnel matter, 30-4-70, A1.
So moved. Go to executive session.
Seconded.
It has been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay.